Hi, and welcome to another Positive Cinematic Spotlight, where we look at movies to find encouragement and inspiration for the education community. Happy New Year! It's now 2021, and it's time for us to get back to school and back to teaching. I'm not going to lie, coming back to school after the winter holidays for me is a little bit like trying to start one of those old pre 1920s cars with the hand cranks, right? Um, it requires some effort. It requires some coordination, um, and not the easiest way to start a car. Of course, at the time they didn't have options, but you get what I'm saying. It's not like at the beginning of the school year where I just need to put the key in and turn the ignition. I got to put a little bit of effort into getting my school year going back. And so I was running a little behind on getting this week's Positive Cinematic Spotlight completed. And then throw in, unfortunately, what happened on January 6th, Wednesday, when we watched rioters at Capitol Hill um, try to interrupt the democratic process. And it was definitely a troubling thing to watch. It was something that bothered me, bothered many Americans, and when something bothers me, I've got this little phrase that I say to myself and I say to other people when I need to let them know that I'm bothered, and that phrase is I need to process. And that's my way of recognizing that something has bothered me, but that if I react now, if I respond now, then I might be saying or doing something that I regret later on. And I am telling myself I need to learn more before I can adequately address the situation. Um, and this was one of those moments. I had to tell myself that I need to process. And so I've, taken time and I've researched. And one of the things that I realized while I was processing was that the positive cinematic spotlight that I wanted to do this week, it was not, it was inadequate for in the wake of the events from Wednesday. So I had to scrap that. If I had gone ahead with that positive cinematic spotlight, then it would not. I felt like I need to address what had happened, um, and that positive cinematic spotlight would not have addressed what had happened. So I needed to see if there's a way that I could address the events in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday. And I knew that with 2021 underway, I wanted to say goodbye to 2020 and mention one of the movies from 2020 that I thought was a good movie and provided a good message. And that movie was Soul from Pixar. Um, but I had to rework my focus. And sure enough, luckily, Soul did provide a way for me to address what happened on Wednesday. Um, but I did need to refocus. So we're running a little bit behind, but I haven't forgotten my positive cinematic spotlight. And clearly, watching this, I got it done. Um, Now, Soul, when I sat down to watch Soul on Disney Plus, I wasn't 100% sure I was going to like it because Pixar, while usually provides movies that I enjoy, they have a small number of films that uh, don't resonate with me. Um, that, and I'm not here to bad talk movies. I'm only here to talk good, talk about movies, talk positively. There we go. There's my word. Talk positively about movies and how we can get lessons from them and apply them to our lives, uh, especially as educators, but um, even beyond the classroom in theory. And so when I sat down to watch Soul, I was not 100% sure I was going to like it. I was afraid this was going to fall into that small cluster of films that just didn't sing to me. Um, but what I discovered was Soul is a great film, and really, I would consider it a good teacher's movie, especially for new teachers, but even for any of us at any stage in our career, which I was not expecting. See, Soul is about Joe Gardner. He is a middle school music teacher, band teacher, but he wants to break into jazz. He wants to be a jazz musician. And so he gets the opportunity to play with, in the Pixar universe, jazz great Dorothea Williams. Um, and I do mean in the Pixar universe because in the movie, and I always get this one messed up, in the movie Onward, um, they do have a small Easter egg reference to Dorothea Williams, even though they came out first. Onward knew that Soul was planning on, um, they knew about Soul and they wanted to throw in a little acknowledgement to the movie that would be coming out later. Um, And so Joe gets a chance to play with Dorothea Williams. Joe is voiced by Jamie Foxx, and Dorothea Williams is voiced by the great Angela Bassett. And then through an accident, he dies, but he is not ready to die because he just finally had his chance to do what he always wanted to do. And this leads to the rest of the movie. Trying to avoid spoilers since this has not been out that long. Um, and like I said, there was where my original focus, but there's a moment in the movie where Joe is talking to Dorothea, and it's clear Dorothea realizes that Joe is having second thoughts about his life, and um, she tells Joe a story, and this is the story. This is what she says to Joe. I heard this story about a fish. He swims up to this older fish and says, I'm trying to find this thing they call the ocean. The ocean, says the older fish. That's what you're in right now. This, says the young fish, this is water. What I want is the ocean. And Joe looks at Dorothea completely confused, not sure what she's trying to say. Um, and then the movie proceeds. And again, I'm trying to avoid any spoilers. And that story, it occurred to me as I was processing the events that I watched on Wednesday, that that story can represent so many people in the United States at this time, and it can represent teachers. And I'm going to focus on the teachers, but I am going to mention everybody else. One of the things that's been difficult about the 2020-2021 school year is that we are having to teach in ways that we are not all that comfortable with. This is not how the majority of us wanted to teach. We want students, all of our students in our class. All the integration of all these this new technology in the long run is going to be great, but we had to do it quickly. There are probably things with these technologies that we're missing that we would give us even better tools, but we didn't have the chance to learn them. And it's been a struggle for many, many teachers because, many of us still have some form of virtual teaching that we're having to do. And we want to be back in the classroom with our teachers, but through Google Meets and through Pear Decks and through all these different technologies while it might be different, we do have what we want. We have our students in school. We have the ability to talk with them and interact with them and encourage them. And they have the chance to reach out to us when they need help. It might not seem like it, but we have what we want. We are able to teach our students. And getting distracted by the minutia of how we're doing it, we're missing out on the fact that we are able to do what we love, and we're able to interact with the people that we want to reach and educate. It might be more difficult, but we still have it. And I think going into 2021, I felt like we needed that reminder, because at the end of 2020, what we saw on Wednesday, which yes was 2021, but we saw that at the end of 2020, there are many Americans who feel like they want an America where their voice is heard, and they don't feel like they've got that. But that is what they have. This is a country where we have a voice, and we can voice our concerns. There, some of this is going to be opinion, and by all means, let me know that you disagree. But there are some people in the world, or in America, I should say, not the whole world, possibly the world, but let's focus on America, who have seen things that are going on as an opportunity to stir up unrest and to get people to feel disenfranchised and unlistened to. But when they um, rioted in Washington, D.C., it was in the middle of them trying to address those exact same concerns. But they listened too much to this version of events where they were not being listened to, where they were being ignored. When in reality, and again, this is my opinion based on my research, but in reality, they were being lied to and manipulated, and that's unfortunate. And so, one of the things that we should do, and I always hesitate to say, do things like I do, um, because I know that I am human and I make mistakes. But I think one of the things that what I will say, one of the things that I think I do well is I do step back and process before I make a judgment and before I decide which course of action to do. And so when you're sitting there and you're feeling disenfranchised and separated from your students, those feelings are coming from an honest and authentic place, absolutely. But take a step back and look and see how we do still have access to our students, and we do still have access to um, our jobs and our ability to reach students and help them grow. And yes, it is different, and acknowledging that is not a bad thing, but realize we do still have this. We do still have a government that we can voice our problems to. We do still have access to our students, even when they are at home. In fact, we have better access to them now because last year, before March, if a student was home sick, then our communication was through email. And some of my materials I could email, and other materials, you know, parents were being invited to come to the school and pick them up. And now everything is being converted into virtual formats because I've learned more options of how to do different things. So now when somebody's sick, it is it's already there. They already have what they need to keep working. And of course, we say, and we're honest, be healthy first. But when you're ready, the work's already there. There is nothing extra that we have to do. It's already there. So there are some great things coming from this unfortunate situation. And we have what we want. We have our schools, we have our classes, we have our students. And that's something that we should probably make sure our students understand when they are frustrated because they don't get to see all their friends. Although in our district, right, Lexington Richland School District 5, we have gone back, at least for now, and hopefully for the rest of the year, um, to 4 days face to face, but we still have our Wednesday virtual days. And well, I say hopefully for the rest of the year, hopefully things can maintain so that this can continue. But we definitely need to make sure that we're safe. And if we do have to go back to a more virtual version because we're not safe, if we're not safe, then make sure they know that even though they feel they want to be in class, for those students who want to be in class, that they do have access to us. They have access to their fellow classmates. They have what they want. It might not be the format they wanted in, but they have what they want and focus on that rather than how it's not quite what we were looking for. And that's what I got. That's what I get from Soul. I got a lot from Soul, and I definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it. It is a very good teacher movie. Um, but I had to. It also represents how, in my opinion, how a lot of times we can not realize we have exactly what we're looking for. And unfortunately, right now in the United States, there are a lot of people who feel like they don't have what they want, not realizing that they do. It's just not exactly the format that they wanted in. Well, I guess that's it for now. I hope you have a great weekend because I'm recording this on Friday. I want to thank you for everything that you do. I want to thank you for being the best. And I want to thank you for the soul and the effort that you put into teaching our students. Thank you.